Is the defense sector back? Let's quickly check. Recently, defense sector stocks showed a lot of promise. There was a lot of buying that happened. Now, today we're going to look at the technical and fundamental aspects of what has happened in the defense sector. So let's quickly jump in. Before that, there is a quick disclaimer. I'm not SEBI registered advisor, first of all. Second, stocks discussed in this presentation are only for information purpose. In fact, they're primarily setting up examples for my students who have taken my courses. So this is just a case study. This is not official investment advice. I'm not responsible for any of the losses that you'll make in case you use this information. So please be careful. Use your best judgment. Get an advice from a certified professional if you're not yourself confident. Okay. But don't blame others for your losses in the stock market. You have to be a responsible person for your own money in the stock markets, and that's how you'll get good in the markets. All right. Now let's get on with our chapter today. So, strong growth drivers for the Indian defense sector. What's happening in Indian defense sector? First things first, the government spending and indigenization, that means Atmanirbharta of our equipment, is going up. The government is significantly increasing its defense budget, and Atmanirbharta or indigenization, in which almost 75% of the allocation is going to domestic companies. That means all the listed companies in the stock market which are into defense production, these are partly government owned companies, some of them are private, are going to get a hefty capital allocation from the Indian government, from the big daddy himself. And the industry positive outlook is also there. A lot of analysts are optimistic about sector's future, especially Q4 FY 2025 onwards. Okay, because there's a lot of rise in orders, and I'm not surprised, as I've mentioned in the previous video as well, where I was talking about the market volatility and the global tensions. The precursor for defense sector is the tensions across the world. The more and more countries are threatening to go to war or have tensions on their borders or threats around with terrorism, there is going to be order for defense. Now, it's not a good thing. I don't agree with the fact that it is a morally right thing, but it is the fact of the matter. At the same time, our own country needs to gear up. There are a lot of countries which need defense in case they are fighting against an enemy. And the more and more tensions rise, the more and more order book develops. Even in those countries where there's no threat, there's no real threat going on currently, there's no war going on currently, but because it's happening all around the world, most countries would like to gear themselves up and be ready with the right amount of defense equipment in case there's a war. Okay, so again, as a human being, I think it's disgusting, but as an investor, it's a great opportunity for us to make money from such situations in the world, because let's face it, we are not going to be able to change the country's opinion, but we can definitely improve a little bit of our own personal wealth if we have the right information. All right, that is just a personal view. If you disagree, do let me know in the comments below. Okay, moving on. There's robust order book and recent wins. There's a lot of order book that has increased. You can check it out in the news if you look at most of the defense companies. And leading defense companies especially are having strong order books. So that's overall good. Now, the reason last year stocks declined is because they had gone to an overvalued zone. As usual, nothing is very I would say nothing is accurately valued in the stock market, which I always keep saying. Stocks are either overvalued or undervalued, because human beings are really, really bad at understanding what exactly is the value of anything, and they get emotional about a lot of things, right? So before the budgets came in, everybody was talking about defense stocks. They ran up, and then they ran up into an overvalued zone. Similarly, when the defense allocation was not that great in the second half of the year after the government was made, then everybody took their money out of the defense stock, realizing, okay, they're not going to have that good of a problem. So this keeps happening in the market. So we need not worry. Right now, things are going as per, I would say, sustainable projections, which can sustain for long term and not short term. So it's a company, it's going to keep increasing its business. I'm talking about it's of all the companies. Okay, just they have a manufacturing product which is useful across the world, and they'll keep getting order books. There's already demand for it. So that is just what is being denoted in the news right now, which was already the case. Okay, even if they fell last week, and not last week, sorry, last year's second half, this was still the case. They were still getting orders. It's just that people's expectations, especially in the stock market, are very different. So please keep that in mind. And market will keep giving you such opportunities. Try to utilize that. But you need to remember there is always going to be some kind of challenge as well. So don't get over positive. Just like I said, have a little balanced view. So there are challenges. Uh, first of all, the orders can slow down. Okay, right now they're coming in and they're coming in at an okay pace. There might be scenarios where the orders will slow down if there's enough armament in different countries or in even within our country. They might not get the same kind of order book, and that's going to be cyclical in nature. I just don't know what is the cycle for wars, unfortunately, but it is going to be over a few years. There will be slowdowns, so that time you can see the growth of the stocks not going that far, and the competition is increasing within our own countries. Different companies, okay, they are all in the same business. They have some of them have similar technology and the products that they can deliver to. So the competition within our country is also increasing. So government is focusing on making sure everything is made in our country, but within our country there are many players, right? So just like when Maruti and Tata both are Indian companies, but they do compete within Indian crowd, this time the defense companies are going to compete for specific products, or depending on the equipment that they are manufacturing, to sell it to the Indian government. That is going to happen, and that's going to, of course, decrease their overall profit share. And finally, if they decrease their speed of execution, which might happen because of hundreds of reasons, and we'll see one of the examples recently, and the payments, government can also delay payments. So all of these factors and many other reasons which might affect any business can affect the Indian defense sector, and the stocks may not grow as expected. So when you're making a decision to get into defense stocks, don't just look at the positive or don't just look at the negative. Balance it out. Have a clear plan of understanding when you're going to enter, when you're going to exit. Okay. Now, let's look at a couple of specific stocks just to drive the point home. These are examples. Again, the stocks that I'm Again, the stocks that I'm discussing are not recommendations. Do your own homework before purchasing stocks. Get an advice from a professional if in case you're not confident. Okay. Moving on to first and foremost, I think the king of the defense sector is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, according to me. And there was a little bit of a problem for F404 engine, which is, again, engine is a crucial part of any aircraft that they'll be making. General Electric from America was supposed to send it, but there was some supply chain issues, so it got delayed. But now they have assured that by the end of March this year, they will get their engine, so that will help them fulfill their order, in which case they will be getting more money. Simple. And they're expected to get an inflow of total 1.2 trillion rupees by end of 2026, okay, within 2 years. Now, this 1.2 trillion is not been specified, but this could be overall order book that they might increase. And of course, they have a backlog of orders, so they might get the payment as well as they execute on the orders that they've gotten. Okay, there's also something known as an increased acceptance of necessity. Okay, this basically means a government always decides which kind of equipment is crucial for, let's say, the defense segments of army, navy, air force, etc. So they list out a specific type of product that is required by the government or the required by that particular industry, by the defense category, and then they start listing out those items, and then they will start buying it. Okay, so this is a good sign, because then when you have such kind of items that have been selected by the government and approved by the government, companies like HAL can make use of it and create those kind of products. Okay, and it's good for the entire sector, not just HAL, but HAL being a big company is going to benefit a lot from it. Next is Bharat Dynamics. Here things are getting interesting. In fact, this stock soared 13% in 2 days because of the lot of contract wins. Again, stock was down, undervalued. Company was still working exactly the same. What happened? A little bit of positive news, and the stock was already in the undervalued zone, and we'll discuss technicals in a bit when I look at the charts of these. Immediately there's a surge because of the buying. Now, they just got 2,960 crore contract for medium range surface to air missiles. BDL is into making missiles, and this is a contract from the Indian Navy. So total they have 3,110 crores of order intake, and there's a backlog of previous orders of worth 21,000 crore. Okay, so all in all, pretty good outlook for Bharat Dynamics. They have the orders, or they just have to execute and collect the payments for it. Okay, not as easy as I said it, but hopefully they do it. They have a proven track record, so it should happen soon. And overall, they are into missiles, torpedoes, sonobios, and countermeasure dispensing systems. Again, you can read about it all on the internet. Hopefully, I'll make a detailed video on Bharat Dynamics at some point of time, so I can get into these products and what do they do. But overall, they have a strong pipeline ahead, which is a positive sign. And finally, I would say the queen of the Indian defense sector. That's my personal view. Don't take my word for it for these particular tags, because this is one of the most, I would say, robust companies. It is not into too many crazy things, but it is extremely important because it's electronics required for defense. Okay, this is market leader in defense electronics, poised to benefit from India's focus on domestic defense production. Now, the government is trying to make sure as much as possible equipment and their parts and components need to be manufactured in India. And Bharat Electronics is going to be the direct beneficiary of this method, because for a lot of time we were trying to get products from outside, a lot of things from China as well and other countries. Okay, and we don't want that, especially for defense. It's not a good sign, and even for our country as a self-sustaining economy, it's not a good sign. Now, they have a strong order book of almost 74,600 crores, and they are getting a robust visibility in the future. Motilal Oswal Financial Services has already recommended buy. Again, this is not my recommendation as a buy. This is from Motilal Oswal, and they've given a target of 360. Again, you can do your own research before making that decision to purchase. I'm not recommending this. And there could be a potential headwind, in the sense headwinds are scenarios in which companies' business might get affected. Slowdown in order inflows. They already have a really large order book. Okay, so growing that large order book to double, triple is not possible. Okay, like something like Bharat Dynamics has got 21,000 crores. Fine, it can go up to 30,000-40,000 crores, but 76,000 crores, roughly 75,000 crore order book going to 1.5 lakh or maybe 1 lakh above, it's a bit challenging. Okay, it's not going to happen that fast. So please be careful and understand. And there's going to be competition within our country as well, because other manufacturing companies and other defense companies might make products that BEL makes. Okay, let's quickly look at the technical side of things, which I can just paint a little bit of a scenario what happened to these companies, and that will be the last part of our presentation today. So here I have HAL, and this is 1 year chart. Zoom in. Okay, we saw some rise since Jan till about I would say June, July. There was a meteoric rise, especially till May. There was a nice rise in the stocks. And if we go back 2 years as well, the same thing was happening. There was a nice upswing that took place in defense stocks. This is just generally for most companies. So last 2 years, stock went up nicely post Jan 2023. You have to notice this has happened after Ukraine war as well. There was that could also add to the effect, not just the Indian government's initiative. Overall, the war scenarios are positive for defense companies, as I always say. All right, from there, let's look at the current last 6 months scenario again. Now, from here, what happened? As soon as public went, as soon as it went out of public favor, the stocks have gone slightly down. Okay, from a level of 5,800, which we would expect it to be a little on the overvalued side. As you can see, it went way higher than its 50 moving average. Then it went down, and currently it's below 250 moving average both. So there is a crossover that has happened for 50 and 200-day moving average, which is a bearish sign. All right. Now, in this scenario, we are at mostly undervalued zone, because as you can see, company has got good visibility, but the stock is not doing that well. Okay. Similarly, if I look at BEL, so let's look at Bharat Dynamics after this. BDL, Bharat Dynamics Limited. Pretty much the same case. If I go back 2 years, let's see what happened 2 years later. I've not checked. Yeah. Meteoric rise after Jan 2023. Then a nice meteoric fall. Okay. It got corrected from all the craziness. Now it's coming back into favor again. Okay. So this is the story of any stock. Go back to our 1 year graph. Same thing, the decline has happened from heights of 1800. It has dropped down to almost half of it, my 950, 900 levels. But now it's coming back. You can see a little bit of turnaround and revival. Let me zoom in a little more into 4 months. I think that is where the pattern is forming. Somewhat of a head and shoulder with decent volumes coming in over here, here, and here. So you guys know what inverted head and shoulder looks like. Those who have done my course will know anywhere on the internet you can find out about this pattern, and it is forming a reversal pattern on its last few months chart, but it is still below its 200-day and 50-day moving average, which tells me in the last 1 year, 1.5 year, it has been under the it's not growing as fast as its average price in previous couple of years. Okay, somewhat of an overvalued. Now I'm not saying they are super or undervalued, but according to my views or opinion, they are. Finally, let's look at BEL. You'll see same scenario, but there's a slight difference in BEL. Same going up, and then I think BEL's decline was less. It was more of a sideways than a downward trajectory move compared to other stocks. Like BDL had a very nice slope, but BEL has got more or less downward slope. But here I saw a more sideways movement. That is, again, this is open to interpretation. But end of it all, if I look at the last 6 months, it is still below its 200-day and 50-day moving average. But 50-day and 200-day have not crossed down. That means there's not a negative, not a bearish crossover that has happened. Okay, 50-day moving average is still above 200-day moving average. That's what I'm saying, that this is not exactly as it has not fallen down as much as HAL and BDL are concerned. You can look at other defense stocks to understand that as well. I do not see any specific patterns over here, but overall, if you zoom in, you can see the stock is trying to crawl back out of its 200-day moving average, which will turn it into a bullish sign. And if it crosses above 50, then it's definitely in short term also coming into bullish sign. Okay, so these are the stocks overall, just to give you a color of what is happening with the particular stocks. Okay, this is the defense sector overview. And that is it for this week. I will see you guys next time. If you have any comments, questions, please put it in the comment below. I may not be able to answer all of them because I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube out. But let me know your views.